All right, 97.7 Outlaw Radio FM listeners, we have the one and only, we got the legendary, living legend, we got Krumbsnatcha right here live on the line. How you doing this evening?
I'm doing great, brother. How about yourself, man?
I'm doing great, man. I'm doing great. Just trying to stay warm down here in Canada, man. You know, she's still pretty cold down here, man. But we're transitioning into the spring, so.
I can imagine, man. I can imagine.
But I know you're a busy guy, man, so I'm going to dive right into this interview. But I got to ask you, like, what actually inspired you and sparked the legendary career of Krumbsnatcha?
Actually, man, as a child, man, my stepfather was a DJ, and he used to get a lot of exclusive records. So one of the first records that I heard was UTFO, Roxanne, and I really enjoyed the record, and I started writing because I wanted to learn the cadence and the rapping and all that, good stuff. And this is maybe when I was probably around 11 years old. And from there, man, I never stopped, man, from 11 all the way up, man. And it's just fortunate that the guys that I grew up watching on MTV was the guys I ended up working and going on tour with. So.
And also, man, you were actually a part of the Starr Foundation, where you actually were mentored by the late, great Guru. I was wondering if you could tell us a bit more about the Starr Foundation, and of course, what was it like just to be mentored by one of the greatest East Coast artists of all time?
Oh, man, it's just a great privilege, man. I was fortunate to jump on a couple of tours, like some Starr tours, and then personal tours with Guru. I was actually signed to Guru's Ill Kid label, as well as with the Starr Foundation thing. So I was very fortunate to be with him consistently during his interviews and a lot of his travels and in magazine shoots and things like that. So I learned a lot as far as the industry. God bless his soul. He was a very humble man, and he was an excellent teacher. And, I'm going to try to continue, man, and carry on everything that I learned from him and embed it in my career.
And the one thing I got to ask, man, because, like you said, Guru was such a humble and amazing individual, man. Like, pretty much you've spent a lot of days and a lot of nights with the legendary man. So I have to ask you, what's one of your most memorable moments just being able to work alongside Guru?
I think, he was going through some legal troubles and things of that nature during the Moment of Truth album. I thought the way that he handled his legal troubles and his personal troubles, along with doing the album, man, was outstanding. He was just balanced. And just to see, and then like to hear like the story of him being arrested and things like that was something that he didn't do, and it was unfortunate. But the album came out excellent, and I was just fortunate to be around him when he was giving interviews, and like he introduced me to so many great people in this industry. I just been blessed, and since he's gone, I'm going to do my best to carry on his name as far as I can do in my career.
And also, you were actually one of the first unsigned artists to actually get a Source magazine hip-hop quotable. I was actually wondering, because I'm really intrigued about that. Like, how did that opportunity come to be for you? And how does it feel to actually be Source magazine's first unsigned artist?
I didn't really know that was going to happen. It was really weird because I had actually met Premier first, and Premier introduced me to Guru. And just so being that me and Guru was both from the Massachusetts area, we sort of clicked. So that was the opportunity for Guru to offer me to be on the Moment of Truth album. And they sent me the beat. I wrote, and it was a time where Biggie, God rest his soul, he had just got killed. There was a lot of stuff going on the East Coast, West Coast music thing, and I just tried to address it to the best of my ability, and I was fortunate to get the Quotable in the Source, so I'm grateful for that. Shout out to the Source magazine.
And I gotta say as well, I don't know if they're still actually making magazines anymore. Like, I haven't saw anything down here in Canada, but I hope at some point, the Source tries to come back with something, man. Because, like, when I was younger, man, the Source was always that magazine that I loved. Well, I loved actually every month going to my mailbox and getting the Source.
Wow. Oh yeah, that was the move right there. That's a great magazine. You know, they have the shout out to the Double XL and all the other new magazines that's coming up right now. But the Source is the legendary magazine. That's the foundation of as far as hip hop internationally, man. As far as getting the word out and the artists out. So shout out to David Mays, Benzino, Source Magazine, and all that good stuff right there, man. So that's great.
And also, in the year 1997, you actually collaborated with Funk Dubious on the song Natural Fun. I was wondering, how did yourself and Funk actually get connected, and what was it like what was it like being in the studio with the legendary Latin group?
Actually, that happened due to the D&D Studios. D&D Studios, it was like a studio area where Premier had his own separate room, the B room. But the other rooms, like a lot of artists was in and out of there, like Jay-Z, Biggie, Nas. You would see all types of Big Pun. I mean, there were so many artists in and out of there. So that's how I ended up meeting Funk Dubious. I was introduced to Premier and Premier's engineer. They introduced me to Funk Dubious, and we was kicking it in the studio for a few days. He was out in California. And then he asked me to get on a couple songs with him, man. So, you know, it just happened that we was hanging out in the D&D Studios, man. It's just like a networking place where a lot of artists go. At least used to. You know what I mean?
And was that the only time you had the opportunity to work with Funk Dubious? Or did you have other projects you actually worked on with them as well?
Actually, that was probably the first and only time that I've worked with them. But I also worked with Sick Jackin and Psycho Realm out there in California. That's associated with Cypress Hill and those brothers. So, you know, that's not the only Latin group that I've been working with. You know, up to this day, I've been working with various artists and stuff. So I'm trying to keep my hands out there in a broad market and try to touch everybody, as many people as I can, basically.
And also, in the same year of 97, you were actually featured on the Tony Touch 5 Deadly Venoms of Brooklyn, where your song Getting Closer to God was actually mixed by Centipede, aka Evil D. I was always wondering, man, were you satisfied with the mixing he did on that project?
Actually, I can't even answer that question because I didn't even hear it and I didn't know about it. But the 50 MCs project, yes. Tony Touch is a real close friend of mine. He asked me to get on the project, so I do remember that part. But yeah, I probably haven't heard it. I mean, it's been years. We're talking about in the span within 25 years. I've been doing so many various projects, working with different artists. But definitely shout out to Tony Touch, 50 MCs, Evil D. That's all family for me out there in NY, Brooklyn, Bushwick, everywhere. Shout out.
I most definitely agree with that. You know, I love digging in the crates for questions, trying to get some new stuff that's never been asked before, right? And you know what I mean? I gotta say, you even this year, man, you've done some phenomenal, and a lot of projects, man. So I most definitely agree. Sometimes that far back, you know what I mean? It's most definitely drawing a blank, so it's completely understandable.
Thank you so much, brother. I appreciate it.
And also as well, man, I actually read that in 1998 you actually released Snatch A Season Part 1, and I have to ask you, what's the inspiration behind that iconic record, and is it still available to be purchased today?
Actually, I'm not sure. I know I go onto Amazon and I go onto eBay, but the prices is really expensive as far as those projects there. And I actually don't have copies myself, so. But that was actually my first album, and that was actually the first time I worked with DJ Premier. I had just got shot up, unfortunately, and when I was coded out and flew in a helicopter to Boston. And, you know, the whole thing, I actually described the song, I described the situation in the song I did with Premier called Closer to God. And that is the song that we're basically talking about. Yeah, man, actually, that was actually the song that opened a lot of doors with you, Premier, and then Guru, when he produced the Closer to God song for me. That was on that project that you're talking about.
And I gotta say, that project right there, my favorite track is Everyday Struggle, man. I gotta say, that song right there helped me get through so many struggles in my life, man. So I just gotta say thank you and shout out to you for that one.
Thank you, brother, man. Shout out to Sonic. He was on that project with me as well. I mean, we're talking about 1997, 1996. You know, this is when I was just starting off as an artist, and I was very fortunate and blessed to be able to meet artists that were already legendary. Now, today, they're icons, Gangstar, Wu-Tang, and all these great artists. But at that time, for me, it was surreal, because these are the guys that I would run home from after school to watch MTV Rap and to watch these guys on TV. And now I see myself in the studio with them. I mean, the whole experience was surreal. So I'm blessed. You know, Guru's not here now, but I'm sure that he's looking over what I'm doing, because he signed me, he looked over me, he watched me, he showed me everything I need to do. So I hope I'm doing everything according to plan.
And also, as well, I actually read that you were actually a member of another group called the Wolves Crew under the name Golden Wolf. I was wondering if you can tell us a bit more about the Wolves, and of course, how did you actually meet the other members?
Actually, the Wolves is a group that I started. It's my personal, it's my group that I wanted to put on after, you know, if I'm fortunate enough to be able to get into a wider platform as far as internationally and, you know, musically. I wanted to bring my group in. These are guys that I grew up with, in different areas from like Virginia, California, Georgia, Florida. I mean, these guys are from various areas. And we created a group. And actually, we created a group after I did the Training Day soundtrack. I did a song called Wolves with MOP for the Denzel movie Training Day soundtrack. And that's how I came up with the name for the group. Wolves stands for Warriors, Organizing Life Values, Escaping the Struggle. So, and, you know, we're working on an album now. Maybe later this year or probably early next year, we'll get that thing out. And the fans will be able to see the groups that I'm working with.
And most definitely, I just gotta say right there, I'm actually looking forward to that new project, man. It's gonna sound like it's gonna be a great Christmas present or a New Year's gift to us fans.
Okay. Absolutely, brother. Absolutely.
And also, going into the millennium, man, in 2002, you were actually in the movie Urban Massacre. I was wondering if you can tell us a bit more about that movie, and of course, like, how did you actually land that role initially?
Actually, it was through a mutual friend. Shout out to my ex-manager, Wayne Mogel. He introduced me to the director, Dale Restaghini. Shout out to him. And really, it was like an indie project. It had various artists in it. It had Baby Shan from Flip Mode Squad. That's Busta Rhymes' artist. It had Dia, which was DMX's artist at that particular time. It had Ivory. I mean, it had so many different artists, and I was a student of the Gangstar School. So Remedy was there. He was part of the Wu-Tang Clan. So it was a good thing, man. It was like a lot of various artists coming together, studying scripts, and just winging it, man. We had a good time. It was like really fun to build with different artists from different areas and stuff. So I enjoyed myself. I mean, it's an independent film. It's not like a major film, but I believe that we all enjoyed ourselves when we filmed it.
And I gotta say, your role was absolutely phenomenal, man. I have that movie somewhere on DVD in one of my boxes. Like, I have so many DVDs, it's actually ridiculous. But I know I have that movie somewhere, and I watched it, I think it was about last year, man. I gotta say, your role, you did phenomenal in that movie, man. Do you think, like, down the line, if someone comes to you with a script, do you think you'd actually take it on and do another movie role?
Actually, that's my overall goal, man. I enjoy doing music and everything, and, like, I have my own company now. Mind Power Entertainment with my partner Justice Hyde. But I think overall, I've always wanted to do like action films, and because I studied martial arts here and there over the 25 span in this industry I've been studying, and like been around like guys like RZA and all these guys who are doing like big movies and big things. So I'm really hoping, man, I get an opportunity to audition for anything, man, any type of decent roles. It's not going to put me out there and make me look too bad, but like a good role to open some new doors for me.
And also, in 2004, you were actually featured on Pete Rock's Soul Survivor 2 on the song Beef. I have to ask you, what was it like working alongside the legendary Pete Rock? And of course, how did you guys actually get connected?
Pete, man, it's so crazy. I know Pete for so long because I've been, since my early 20s, man, I've been in and out of D&D studios. So I've seen so many artists as a young guy, man. In and out. I actually like practically grew up in D&D studios because I was in my early 20s. And you would see anybody pass through. You'd see Jay-Z one day, Biggie one day, Nas one day. So, I mean, it's just really weird. It's just a blessing of being a part of the D&D studio thing. And that was the opportunity for me to be able to see Pete Rock, because he used to always be in there working in one of the studios where Premier was working in the other ones. And we developed a relationship. That's my brother. That's not even a producer for me. That's like my brother. I mean, that's the relationship I have with some of these guys in this industry. Like Premier's like my father. Pete Rock's like my brother. Mr. Walt, these are like my elders, my uncles. So, I mean, it's a blessing. I'm very grateful.
And I gotta say as well, that song you guys did together, you guys had phenomenal chemistry on that joint, man. I just gotta say, one of my favorite collaborations of yours, for most definitely, for sure.
Thank you so much, man. I appreciate it, man.
And also as well, man, I noticed that you actually that you recently have done some work with United Kingdom's own Cuban Pete, and you know, that's actually a mutual friend of ours, man. Like I've actually had grown a friendship with Cuban over this past year, and I was wondering, how did yourself and Cuban get connected, and what is it like working alongside a United Kingdom artist?
Cuban Pete, man, is such a great character. I mean, not even a character. He's such a great personality. He's a great brother, man. He's very talented. I mean, I love that dude, man, since I first was introduced to him. But I've actually met him through, I took a break through the music industry after Guru had passed, and I got picked up by Wu-Tang Management. Shout out to John Moo Gibbons and Jimmy Kang. So this is how I met Cuban Pete, because he was actually working with a lot of the Wu-Tang artists here in the United States. He was doing their covers or doing the sneakers or the clothing line for them. And that's how I met him, coming through the Wu-Tang management chamber. And, you know, we hit it off, man, and, like, he you know, I'll give him a verse, he'll give me something. I mean, we developed a relationship, and actually he became a part of my record label family, Mind Power Entertainment. So, I mean, shout out to the UK. I love those guys. They're very talented, man, and I'm looking forward to doing a lot of work with these brothers in different countries in the future.
Most definitely. I gotta say, one giant, huge shout out to Cuban Pete as well. Nothing but love.
Yes, sir. Absolutely, brother.
And also, you recently released a project under the alias Judah the Prince, titled Black American. I was wondering if you could tell us a bit more about that amazing project, and of course, where can we actually snag ourselves some copies today?
Actually, the Judah the Prince project, well, actually, it's called the Iron Lion of Zion. And Judah the Prince is my alter ego, as they say in the magazines. It's just different characters, more of my righteous side, where I talk about more social issues, more spiritual issues, more things besides the street side of the Krumbsnatcha thing. So I'm still in the process of recording the album, but we have at least 4 singles released. We released so far within a year span. We released 4 singles. And I'm still recording the album. Hopefully we'll drop it towards the end of the year. It's reggae and hip-hop. It's very different, man. It's going to be great, man. I gave you guys a few of the records, man, if you want to play a few. Yeah, man. Look for it. It'll be towards the end of this year.
And I gotta ask as well, or with the reggae side of things, is that something you're going to be doing more often now as getting into the reggae genre, or are you still going to keep it hip-hop as well?
Well, actually, I'm gonna keep it hip hop. This was just an experimental project. I'm a fan of reggae. I believe that as far as like social music, you know, that's socially conscious and that can reach the people, reggae is probably on the top tier as far as music to reach the people consciously. So I wanted to be able to tap into that market, or into that genre, and bring it into the hip-hop thing, and try to do an awakenness, man, an awareness that the times that we in are very serious right now. And people need to wake up, man. We got to make some changes. You know what I mean?
And also, one thing I have to ask, because we have an older school audience as well that tunes into Outlaw Radio FM, and a lot of the times they love knowing if amazing individuals like yourselves have hard copies available. And if you do have hard copies available of your newest projects, how can we actually go about snagging us some CDs?
To be honest with you, we are still building our website, but if you go on to Amazon, if you go on to eBay or various sites over the internet, you would be able to get hard copies. But we do have hard copies of my last project, Iron Will Ninja. If you go on to mindpower.com, or excuse me, Bandcamp, Mindpower. It's bandcamp.com/mindpower entertainment. And you'll be able to, there's various projects on there. And we'll get the website up soon. We have the Instagram, the Krumbsnatcha at 7, and we numerous things: Facebook, Instagram, numerous social sites. We're slowly building it and getting it up, so you guys can see it soon.
And also as well, Krumbsnatcha, what is next for you? Is there anything I happen to miss during this interview? Anything else you still want to talk about or promote while we stop you here live on the Canadian airwaves?
Well, first, I just want to say congratulations to my daughter. I became a grandfather today on my mother's birthday. My daughter just gave birth to her son, Julian, so I'm proud of that. I'm a grandfather now, so I have to work even harder. So, just basically, man, keep a lookout for the Iron Will Ninja. That's already in stores. It's called Shinobi Iron Will Ninja. It's with my homie D Future, young prodigy, and producing. And I'm working on my project Iron Lion of Zion under my alter ego. It's called Judy the Prince. We have 3-4 singles out now. Stay tuned. We will be dropping this album by the end of the year.
And also, Krumbsnatcha, this is the time in the interview quickly that I give a chance for the individual that slides into the radio station airways quickly before we wrap things up, a chance to give shoutouts to whomever they want to give shoutouts to, but of course your social media handles. That way our listeners can follow you all across the board and stay updated everything Krumbsnatcha if they're not already doing so.
Okay, definitely you can, at Krumbsnatcha7, that's my Instagram. It's the same for the Twitter. And then you can go on Mind Power Entertainment, that's our Facebook. And then Krumbsnatcha, a.k.a. Judy the Prince, that's my Facebook, my fan page. So any of those social sites you can be able to get on, I'll be able to communicate. We're building the Mind Power website now. We have the Mind Power clothing line. You can Google that. That's Mind Power Wear. And I believe it's on bigcartel.com. And that's our clothing line as well. So, just Google the name, and all of these things should be able to pop up, and you can be able to tap into all these sites.
But also, Krumbsnatcha, I just got to say thank you so much for years of amazing hip-hop and everything you've done, man. You put out gem after gem, man. So I just want to say from a fan's perspective, and also speaking on behalf of all of our listeners, thank you for years of amazing music.
Thank you so much, Immortal, man, and shout out, man, to Canada. We love you guys, man. I'm looking forward to getting back out there, man.
Hey, man, most definitely. Us fans, we're looking forward to getting back to seeing concerts as well. So we're in the same boat on that one.
Yes, sir. Absolutely, man.
Thank you so much, Krumbsnatcha, and most definitely have yourself a wonderful night.
You too, Immortal, man. Peace, Canada.